Okay, welcome back. So we're coming back to this text now, but in German. And if anyone's ever wondering why on earth am I teaching you simple past and present perfect, the main reason is you're going to have to use it for the passive form, which we are literally about to learn. So that is the main reason why I'm doing this. It's a refresher. If you already knew it, congrats for being smart. If not, then hopefully this was useful. So what we want to do now, this is your first activity. I want you guys to go through this text, including this part down here. And we'll be going through it and trying to create some sentences in the present perfect. You guys are going to be taking all of the simple past sentences that you see in German. You are then going to go over here, pick a signal word or a time, and you are going to turn these sentences into an English present perfect version of these words. So for those who don't know where they are, befand is another one. I think I read them all off earlier. Wurde, that's another fun one. Räumte, there's a whole bunch of them. Anything that you guys think are in the simple past in German, I want you guys to go through and turn into present perfect words. Pick, you can use this if you want to check afterwards, but throw in one of these words. Pick a word. Today. Again, you're going to be acting as if you are reporting this today, right now. We're not doing it in the German way, that this already happened. You're going to report as if today or just recently this happened and you are reporting back to me. Do not do a whole sentence. You don't need to translate this whole thing. Just a basic sentence. For example, der Antragsteller befand sich seit April 2019 als Beamter auf Widerruf. You don't need to do all of this. Just enough to make a complete sentence. So, let's go over here. The applicant had been in preparatory service. No, we're not saying that. We're going to simply say, this person has studied to be a police officer or has been preparing to be a police officer since April 2019. Has studied. That's a nice, easy word, easy sentence. Do something similar to this, translating these sentences and using either an appropriate time word or you'll be using one of these signal words. Okay, I'll give you guys about 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how fast you are doing this whole exercise. Okay, welcome back. Let's go through and let's try to create some sentences now from these. So, Antragsteller has been in preparatory service. I will do this differently. Let's go over here. Let's check. Wurde untersucht. Okay. In this case, you can't really change the wurde. He was found. He has been found. Maybe you could change or something like that. But this one's off. And I'll be explaining. I've been hinting at this already. I'll be explaining this literally in 5 minutes. The other one that might be throwing people off is things like mache, können. This is really interesting. German has something known as the K1 or K0, depending on which school of thought you were trained under. This in German is basically the trust me bro phrase. It's used in German predominantly in reporting to say, I heard this from someone, maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. Up to you. In English, we don't do this. In English, you would just say, der Waffe verrichten könne. It is believed that he might not be able to use his weapon properly. It is thought of. It is known that this could be possible. Or you would simply say, we heard, it was said, this person said this, so on and so forth. We would be a little bit more direct. This is not simple past at all. This is K1. So if you translated these, you don't have to. It's not necessarily. Okay, so untersucht, das sind erklärte. Today he has. Today the police are Arts, the police doctor, has clarified that he is no longer capable of the police service. He is unfähig. Again, what would be English be for unfähig? Incapable. Incapable. He is no longer capable of this. And he has been let go. He has been let go. So wurde was in the present perfect. It has been, and he has been let to go. I apologize if there's any weird irregulars with these particular verbs in English. They're not too crazy. I think the only crazy one that some people they should know is went. But that's an irregular in the simple past. And that's because about 500 years ago, we used to use an English version of wenden along with gehen. So you said you wend your way and you go your way. Then after about 200 years of doing this, people said saying goed is dumb. And saying wend and wended is also dumb. So we're just going to say go, went, gone. And that happened. I don't understand it either. Okay. Let's go through wies. Der Kammer wies dagegen. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's rejected. Today, this group has rejected his application or his negation of the decision of the court. Die Annahme. Sei, I love sei. Sei is a classic example of K1 Begegner. I'm pretty sure Begegner. According to the police. There are no objections. There has been no objections. There has been no objections. He has not been negated. Führen. Gestörte Koordination führen. He has been noticed. Führen means to move from memory. Yeah, he has been impaired. He has impaired motor coordination. That is another example. Erfüller, I'm pretty sure that's K1. Es bestünden. Oh my gosh, es bestünden. It has been noticed. He is noticed. Oh, that's passive. We have noticed. We have noticed, or today we have noticed that this would happen. Or the Antragsteller, they have noticed. That would be a really good sentence right there. Schließen ist aus. They have confirmed. Ausschließen? Schließen? It's not has been proven. We have proved. This group has proved today, so on and so forth. Has proven or has concluded. I would also accept concluded as a translation of this sentence. We're almost finished. Yeah, das ist gemacht habe. Yes, that he. Oh, that one's already in present perfect. Okay. And strafbar mache, that is K1 perfect. And then kann Beschwerde beim Oberverwaltungsgericht Berlin-Brandenburg eingelegt werden. Okay. So, we're done. We're done with present perfect. We're not really going to mention it again. So, what was the point of this? I hear you all ask that. You might be thinking this was a massive waste of time. It is not. Practicing these sentences is going to be fantastic for when you now use them with the passive. And the passive we will... Okay, welcome back. My wife got home. So, the main reason why you need to learn all of this grammar is because we need to use it for the passive. The passive is the main way that we do all of this, all of these different words for reporting things in German. The primary way that we do it in English is using the passive. As a result, this is the main thing you need to know. And the passive exists in the present perfect. So that's why you need to know it. What is the passive and why do we care? The passive is primarily a form where you are swapping objects around, subjects and objects. For example, Hitler invaded Poland. Poland was invaded. It's actually a classic example because people don't like mentioning Hitler too much, so they use this particular grammar form to remove the person. The police use it for the other reason, and that is where the passive is used when we don't know who did the thing or we don't care. For example, a body was found. Who found the body? Probably the police. A man was arrested. Again, who does the arresting? It's the police. The passive often will be used in this case when you don't want to focus on yourself too much or when we simply don't know. Another example that is very, very common, a car was stolen, handbags were taken, stabbings were seen by a suspect or by a witness, something along those lines. Now, there's multiple reasons why to use it, but the main reason why the police do it is for reporting, for getting someone out of a sentence, or for simply saying we don't know who did the thing. This is the main thing you guys need to pay attention to for the passive. The passive, basically the active, works like this. It's very straightforward. Subject, verb, object. With the passive, we get rid of this, essentially. A house is built. Do we need to say by Peter? For example, Germany was established in 1951. Do we need to say which political party did it? Do we need to know who did all those things? Not really. We can mention these things, but it's not necessary. Women were given the right to vote. Do we need to mention which politicians gave the women the right to do so? Or do we want to focus on the fact that women now have the right to vote in 1918? I think it was 1918 or 1919 in Germany. Let me know. I'll have one of the girls in the class let me know. So, the main thing to notice here is that builds goes to built, and a house is built. Is built. And you'll pretty quickly realize is a Hilfsverb. It's an auxiliary verb. And now if you go back and remember, hey, in Germany we use both haben and sein as auxiliaries. And we use both of them for the present perfect. Can we use this for the passive in German? Yes, you can. But only in certain circumstances. In English, it is always going to be is or some version of to be. In German, the most common form is wurde, where it's used as a Hilfsverb. Wurde untersucht, wurde entlassen, so on and so forth. In English, if we go over here though, we will very quickly see that had been, that is passive. I don't like that sentence though, it's a garbage example. Was examined. Wurde untersucht. He was examined. We always use to be as one of the auxiliaries to create the passive. So have is always the auxiliary for present perfect. To be is always the auxiliary for the passive. What else do we need to know? The verb is always in this form. I think in German you call it the Plusquamperfekt form. It's always the form that is with ed, unless it is irregular and then it's in its irregular form. For example, built, gebaut. In German it's the ge form. Getan, gesehen, gemacht, and so on and so forth. Simple present. Ganz normale Gegenwart. A house is built. Is in the Gegenwart. Built is in the perfect form, or in this case, present plus perfect equals passive. But this is only because of the auxiliary is. Again, a house is built by Peter. We don't need to say Peter. Do we care? Not really. Active sentence, Peter built a house. Built That is simple past. So what do we use? We use was. Was or were. It really comes down to what we're trying to focus on. If it's a Mehrzahl, often use were. Yeah, you guys know the rules. He, she, it, es muss mit. Think along those lines. And of course, present perfect. Yay! Oh my god, I love the present perfect so hard. No, I don't. So we see here, has and built a house. Peter hat ein Haus gebaut. How would you say this in German? A house has been built. Ein Haus wurde gebaut? Or would you prefer to say a house ist gebaut worden, ist worden gebaut? You guys can tell me. It's been a while since I've done my German grammar lessons. It's been 10 years. God damn. These you don't really need to care about except for modals. Modal verbs, these are often things like your woulds and shoulds and coulds. Modal verbs, and we only need to care about this for this one. So, let's go back here. Nope, over here. Let's try to identify the passive sentences. I've given you guys a hint. You guys should know where the present perfect sentences are. Let's spot the passives. And I will give you guys 2 minutes. It shouldn't take too long. Okay, so we're back. 2 minutes. Shouldn't have taken you too hard. Let's point them out. I've already shown a couple already. Was examined. This is 100% passive. He was dismissed. That is 100% passive. Is allowed. This is also passive. This is Gegenwart passive. Has not been proven. I'm pretty sure that was the only one that was in the present perfect of the passive in German, and it's the same here. So this is his verb, therefore it's going to be present perfect. Been is the Hilfsverb to proven, present perfect passive. Wow, what a mouthful. The Adats, nope. This is just bog standard Gegenwart. He is obliged or obligated. I prefer the word obligated, but Google is only translating so good. This is a passive. And then we come down to these two beautiful sentences. An appeal against the decision can be lodged. Can be lodged. Can be dismissed. Is this passive? Yes, it is. This is 100% a passive sentence. In this case, we are reporting that it is possible. Who says this? The administrative court. Do we need to say administrative court again for this? For example, in ganz normale Gegenwart, you would say, he is dismissed because the court ruled that it is possible. Something along those lines. It's too much of a mouthful. Much easier to say he can be dismissed. Extra for experts. What would be the simple past? Could be dismissed. Present perfect of this? Could have been dismissed. You probably won't need to know that or see that. I hope you never have to write a fancy sentence like that. Just know that's present perfect. Conditional passive. Oh, God. Can be lodged. Could be lodged. Could have been lodged. All of these are passives. In this case, why are we saying it in the passive? An appeal can be lodged with these people. Okay, you should have made your decision by now. This can be lodged by the defendant. In this case, the police officer that isn't going to be a police officer anymore. This is done primarily because he is being mentioned in the sentence, but we don't need to say him 1,000 times. We've already said it multiple times that he is, or this police officer is obliged, and so on and so forth. We don't need to mention him for the 50th time. An appeal against the decision can be lodged by this person with the Higher Administrative Court of Berlin-Brandenburg. And this was made on the 18th of November, 2022. So, could it be possible that an active police officer smokes marijuana today and this does not apply to them? That's a good question. Let me know. I would actually really, really much so like to know what is possible. And that would make things very, very, very awkward. I wonder also, could this man reapply to be a police officer? So that it was negated here. If it's now possible for him to try to be a police officer, that would be an interesting legal situation. So that was part 1 of Grammar in English. I know, grammar's so fun. Please stay tuned for part 2.